Hello, my name is Buster McTunder. You don't know me, but I know you. I've been out there for a decade now, fighting on the front lines of the console wars. And I've got just one thing to say. I've been defending gamers for so long now, I can't even remember my real name anymore. And you know what? You don't even deserve it. Gamers are just stupid, entitled assholes, and they are the most oppressed race across all of Earth. And I truly think they should go the way of the dinosaur. Is probably what I would say if I gave a shit about console wars or gamers, or, to gamers who take this hobby that they have to just the next level and just that little bit of corrosive, stupid, gross actions. People, gamers, are stupid. Especially the kinds you can find on Twitter. Subject A. Stupidity. Everywhere. It never stops. You can load up this app every single day and there's some poor motherfucker who spent $12 to have a blue check mark and talk shit on one of these multi-million-dollar companies because they think it matters. So yes, that is the topic for today's video. I think the console wars and people who are still fighting about Xbox versus PlayStation versus Nintendo versus PC in 2023 are incredibly sad people, and I still, to this day, cannot figure out what compels them to fight in such a way unless they have their own ego and pride and all of that to sort of circle up into their fanboyisms that keep them attached to Microsoft and or Sony at the teat. This kind of tribalism that you see a lot, I feel like it's just harmful. Like it's not good for anybody. It's not good for you because you're spending however many hours out of your week, however many days, however many wasted time fucking sucking the cock and balls of a company like Microsoft and or Sony, or maybe even Nintendo, who has their own set of legal assassins to send after people, right? You're not doing anyone any favors. You're not getting anything out of this relationship. You're, in fact, preaching to nobody, because nobody gives a fuck. I think this sort of ego wrapped around in people's obsessions over certain games, or obsessions over the fact that theirs is better than the other, is just really unhealthy, and the people who continue to practice it, I hope you get help very soon, because, we should be funding mental health institutions more across the states, the great old US of A, and we don't, and that's a shame, but as soon as those do get funding, I think you should be the first to go. I think there's this weird air of people who defend games, or they like games, so they think to themselves that that game must be perfect, and anyone who criticizes it, well, you're wrong, obviously. You're just fucking stupid. Why would you ever argue with me? Because I am correct, and I know what I'm talking about, and you don't. This comes mostly in the last few weeks, if you've seen people that are completely mauling over their obsession with Xbox and the fact of Starfield is a 10 out of 10 game and everyone's slandering it because it's an Xbox game. No. Why are you lying to yourself? Why are you lying to your own bones within the flesh that makes you a person? Starfield can be fun. I can definitely see it. I only played it for about 10 hours and I can tell you I had no fun with it whatsoever. It felt like Fallout 4 in space. And I put a lot of hours into Fallout 4, but I would not put that much time into Starfield. I just didn't find it enjoyable. That's a personal thing for me. I can see that the game has some things that are cool.
Am I trying to find my son?
It's Mass Effect.
Is it just Mass Effect? Is it actually?
They found an artifact that gave you visions from a long-lost civilization somewhere long ago, and they're trying to find more parts to find out what happened to that civilization. It's just...
Oh, dude, let me guess. Some giant black robots are going to show up out of nowhere.
I have no idea about that. I haven't gotten that far, but I wouldn't be surprised if the aliens from space are evil or something.
Cycle.
Yeah, and playing it with mods does not make it a good game. That's not how that works. Thinking a game is good is more subjective. If you want to try and be that person who's always saying, well, objectively, Starfield is a 9 out of 10 game or a 10 out of 10 game, and people are just hating on it because Xbox. No. It's like a 7 out of 10 at best. But, come on. people are so quick to like ban blast one or fuck the other all over like the most stupid shit. People coming up with the most inane comparisons, like how Spider-Man 2 is only taking part about in this one section of the city of New York. Starfield takes place across 1,000 planets.
Thousands of worlds to explore. And people said that this game was more in-depth than... What's the other one? What's the other space game? I'm forgetting the name on it now. Is it Son of something? Son of Space of Suns of... What the fuck is that game? Hold on, I have it downloaded. What the fuck is that game called? Where is it? No Man's Sky? And people said that this game was more in-depth than No Man's Sky. I don't know about you, but this fucking looks like a planet from No Man's Sky. I get that it's Earth and it has its own, like, it's been destroyed thing, but, like, damn.
And every single planet I went to was a desert full of nothing, as you could expect from, well, Bethesda. They're kind of known for their massive wastelands with nothing of value within them. Which, I don't know how people think that just because it's larger means that it's better. Assassin's Creed Odyssey has a massive map. Doesn't make it a good game. These review scores is inherently just kind of useless to me, because like, reviews for games don't really matter anymore. The number scores can be good and they're kind of helpful. The biggest way for me to gauge a game is to look at other people online who have reviewed it independently, that have their own take in what they say, and if I know my interests align with them, and I listen to their review, and their review sounds like they enjoy it, and I would like it, well then, there we go. The most recent example of this I can think of personally was Mortal Kombat 1 just came out. I wanted to play it. I really liked Mortal Kombat 11. There were some things that kind of had me on the fence for it, and I listened to 2 different reviews. One was from a dude who only plays fighting games on his channel, and the other dude reviews movies. I know, 2 different places. The guy who plays nothing but fighting games kind of kept me on the fence. I was like, yeah, I probably won't. I don't know if I would like it if I paid, $70 full for it. And the guy who reviews movies, who I've seen talk about the other Mortal Kombat games, and understand that I have a similar taste to him, and that the things that he liked about Mortal Kombat 11 are the things that I liked about Mortal Kombat 11, which was not true for the actual video game guy. So when he came out and he said, I really like Mortal Kombat 1 and it's got some cool things here, I was like, well then, there it is. I think I would really enjoy it. That's how you should do reviews. But if you just look at Metacritic and you go, well, Starfield is technically higher rated than Spider-Man on the PS4, nobody gives a fuck. I'll tell you right now, I have not looked at a professional, 10 out of 10 review type thing in a long time. I think the only time I ever do look at those reviews are when they show up in the trailers for video games, when they're trying to lick their own asses and shit like that. Otherwise, I stay clear of that. I'll watch, some YouTuber who's doing their own review, whose tastes I'm more aligned with, before I'll pay attention to any kind of mainstream gaming journalist about their take on a game when I know they probably can't beat the tutorial. Very much in the way of that games have different things to different people. I play Mortal Kombat, I really like the single player stuff, I really like the towers with all the altercations and stuff, and the invasions in the new one. I don't like the online multiplayer 1v1 so much. I really like Gears of War, I really like the world, and I like the third person shooters. Not a whole lot of other people like that though. I really like Baldur's Gate 3. I stayed up all night playing it, and that's why my eyes are bloodshot. But I really love the game. I think it's great as a turn-based D&D, RPG, everything. I think it does really fucking well. It's definitely a better RPG than Starfield in my opinion. It's actually pretty up close to Mass Effect, which I think between Mass Effect and maybe something like The Witcher, Baldur's Gate 3 is pretty up there for me. At the same time, Baldur's Gate 3 has some issues. I've run into a few different, not necessarily bugs, but just things that the game does that are kind of annoying or tedious or here and there. And I know that if I didn't like the game as much as I do, I would not put up for those kinds of things and I would have already turned it off. That's kind of what I did with Starfield. It had these things that were annoying and I didn't like the game as much, so it immediately turned me off and I was just like, fuck it, I'm out of here. Baldur's Gate 3, I like, but if you're not somebody who likes that kind of gameplay, or game in general, it might be too much and it might turn you off as well, which I have seen as well. People is, you can like a game and you can really love it, and you can understand that that game is not for everybody, and when someone tells you, yeah, I guess Starfield looks kind of mid, I'd rather play Spider-Man, I completely agree with that. As somebody who's played all of the Arkham games, and the Spider-Man games, and Mad Max if you want to count it, it's in the same genre, who has recently played Starfield, and is looking at the trailers for Spider-Man 2, I can tell you that I would not spend a dime on Starfield, but I might actually buy Spider-Man 2. If not, wait for a sale or something. My PS5 kind of rarely gets used. This other thing in discussions going on right now that also kind of rubs me weirdly, which is people taking credit on Xbox's behalf for stuff that Xbox has not done. Let me spell it out for you. Xbox has been buying lots of companies. We know this. They've been in the middle of their Activision Blizzard thing for a long time. But now people have started to come out and say,
well, look at all these Xbox titles. These Xbox first-party titles. Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom.
Which is, not incorrect, because now Xbox does own them. Also, I saw someone put Redfall in this list, which why would you try to gloat about having Redfall as an exclusive? Regardless, people who try to kind of claim these as Xbox first parties, which are not wrong, but it's not, Xbox just bought them. And it's kind of, it shows a lot to me, the fact that you have to kind of look at these Bethesda games that Xbox has bought and herald those up as Xbox first party games, because their actual lineup, you got Halo, missing in action, Gears of War, Gear 6 is dead on the spot, Sea of Thieves, can be fun with friends, and then Forza. If you like racing games, I hear those are good. But as far as actual first-party Xbox Game Studios titles, they don't really have anything. Even stranger than that, I've seen people try to claim Activision games as Xbox first-party already when the deal with Activision Blizzard has not finished all the way through. It's really close, but it's just still weird to me that people point at these kind of things and they're like, Spider-Man 2 is kind of boring. We get Modern Warfare 3, and it's like Call of Duty has not had a good game since 2016. Why are you trying to blast Modern Warfare 3 as the savior of the Xbox consoles? Because I can tell you right now, it's not. The whole point I'm getting to here is that there's just some gamers that take their hobby to a next level, and it's just sad to a point. There's just people that kind of go on and on and on and on about defending their consoles. And it makes sense when you're a teenager or whatever, and you don't have anything else to do. But when you got people that are fully grown, paying $12 a month for Twitter verified, and still just fucking take an Xbox down the goddamn throat, and PlayStation, and Nintendo, they all do it equally. Everyone's got fanboys for some fucking reason. I don't understand why. What do you owe these companies other than your own grief and sadness and trying to justify some strange tribalism, haha, I'm correct, I'm on the good team type deal? Otherwise, it makes no fucking sense to me. And to a point, it just gets really, really sad. It's like the kind of people you run into. I've been playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The new one, not the good one, the one that's come out recently with Nicki Minaj and 21 Savage and shit like that. And one of the blessings of playing on PlayStation is the fact that the PS5 remotes have that little speaker. So I can listen in on my teammates that are talking complete bullshit, whatever. They're still funny to listen to, but at a certain point, it's kind of sad still. You can hear people who you can tell by their voice. This is a fully grown 40-year-old man. He's got a mortgage. He might have 3 kids. Maybe he abuses them. He's probably getting cheated on by his wife. He's got a whole life, and he's on here on this video game talking to literal 12-year-olds, calling them all sorts of slurs and the really, really bad ones, and acting like he's really good when he has a negative KD. And it's something about gamers makes me really sad that I enjoy video games so much, because there's so many people in the sphere who are so clearly lost and so devoted and so enigmatic to a point of delirium that I just cannot take this sphere seriously anymore. Not that you ever really could, but for the most part, this is completely unnecessary and kind of untrue depending on what specific people you're talking about. Most people you run into that play video games are not like this. This is more of the fringe, up there, random nut jobs in the space, but still kind of sad. And I just wanted to take a moment to talk about that because, I don't know, it's just wild to me that people can be fully grown adults and still arguing about which box that plays video games is better. I saw this question on an online forum where someone asked, like, what is the proper etiquette for stealing kills in a Gears of War game? And I'm like, it's a video game. Like, if you're that pent up about someone stealing your kills or any kind of bullshit like that, I don't know what to tell you, man. Yeah, I think you should just let it go. That's my personal opinion. I mean, I think you should just play to have fun. If you get fun out of being competitive and making sure that all your kills are your kills, burp, that can happen, but, I mean, don't expect perfection, you know? I just want people to stop taking themselves so seriously, to stop taking video games so seriously, because they're fucking video games. They're digital pieces of content that you are going to be locked out of and not have any ownership of in about a decade or so. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. Sergeant Buster McTender will return. I have to go back to the front lines now, which kind of sucks because I was hoping on seeing my family, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, especially with Spider-Man 2 right around the corner. I imagine that'll be incredibly deadly and dangerous for myself. So I hope you guys can just put me in your thoughts and prayers. You know, let's do that, because I don't really want to take any actual action, so thoughts and prayers is all that I'm running on. It was Ben. You know what you did. It was Ben.